Welcome to this Dragon Marine Systems video. This one covers the panel wiring harness. For those of you who have bought your wiring harness with your panel, sit back and enjoy. For those of you who are building your own wiring harness, now is time to start taking notes. Firstly, securing your wiring harness. The wiring harness must never be allowed to hang on the back of the panel pigtail, not even for a second. There should be a clip securing the pigtail to a bulkhead, and the wiring harness should be secured every 30 centimeters. The wiring harness should be secured as high up as possible, safely so that it cannot be struck or walked upon, and never should it be run through a bilge. If you are running your wiring harness through a bulkhead, remember to use a grommet. If you are running your wiring harness below a floor panel, remember to clip the wiring harness, don't just let it dangle. Bilge water will affect your wiring harness. Always run your wiring harness above the normal bilge level. A Dragon wiring harness is fitted with fuses or breakers that will protect the wiring harness if there is a short circuit. You will need to connect your wiring harness to the panel pigtail. The best way to do this is to use the male side of the 11-way plug that's supplied with the pigtail. Care must be taken to make sure that both sides of the 11-way plug have the correct wiring sequence. Refer to your wiring diagram to make sure that both sides are the same. Both sides of the 11-way plug should be bonded. This is not to provide waterproofing, it is to make sure that the wires do not pull out. First, calculate the correct loading for each wire that is going on your system. Then calculate the correct gauge of wire that is required. Then measure from the rear of the pigtail to the end of the engine run system. Your wiring should be taped every 30 centimeters. This is to prevent the wiring from rubbing with each other. Remember to calculate for voltage drop over long runs. The wiring should then be protected using flexible corrugated conduit. Use the solid conduit, not the split conduit. The solid is much better. Test continuity before inserting into the conduit. Once you have inserted the wire into the conduit, it's time to seal the end of the conduit. Once more, this is to stop the wires moving, it is not waterproofing. The engine room side of the conduit will also require sealing, and the wires that are running to each individual function will require protection with a smaller gauge of conduit. Although this panel is fed by an 11-way plug, we always insert a few extra wires just to make sure. These can be used by the owner for whatever purpose they want. To complete the wiring harness, we now add all of the fuses and relays that are required by this particular panel. Remember to calculate carefully when you put the relays on your wiring harness. Now it's time to connect your wiring harness to your panel and test all of the functions on the panel to make sure the wiring harness and the panel continuity is correct. Thank you for listening to this video.